This presentation discusses various aspects of signal reconstruction, specifically why a simple low-pass filter cannot suffice to recover the original signal and what practical difficulties are encountered in signal reconstruction. We now discuss signal reconstruction. In digital communications, the modulating signal is sampled at regular intervals and the strength of the sampled point is converted into a digital value. Although this may simply be the process of analog to digital conversion, we already know this. Now, whenever we try to retrieve the original signal, we need to apply an inverse process, that is digital to analog conversion. But actually, it's not that simple. Theoretically speaking, all we need to do is to pass the modulated signal through a simple low-pass filter. But as we shall see below, that is not quite feasible. Continuing with the understanding of signal reconstruction, we need to understand something called the interpolation formula. The process of reconstructing a continuous time signal GT from its samples is also known as interpolation. For a signal which is band limited to bHz, this is done by passing the sample signal through an ideal low-pass filter of bandwidth bHz, as can be seen from G bar T equal to GT delta TST. Continuing with signal reconstruction, the expression on the previous slide translates to 1 upon Ts open brackets GT plus 2 GT cos omega st plus 2 GT cos 2 omega st and so on. So the sample signal contains a component 1 upon Ts GT. To recover GT or rather G omega, the sample signal must be passed through an ideal low-pass filter of bandwidth bHz and gain Ts. Such a filter is unrealizable since it is non-causal. This is a figure which shows the frequency response of an ideal low-pass filter. In the next slide, we will understand why this is not feasible. We need to know about ideal and practical filters a bit before we go into the actual signal reconstruction. Ideal filters will allow distortionless transmission of certain band of frequencies. They will suppress all the remaining frequencies. As we had seen in the diagram on the previous slide, the ideal low-pass filter will allow all components below omega equal to W to pass through without distortion, and all components above omega equal to W are suppressed. The ideal low-pass filter has a linear phase of slope minus Td, which results in a time delay of minus Td seconds for all its input components of frequencies below W radians per second. Therefore, if the input signal GT is band limited to W radians per second, the output Yt is simply GT delayed by Td. That is, Yt is equal to GT minus Td. The signal is transmitted by the system without distortion but with a delay Td. This slide gives a hint of why we cannot use a simple low-pass filter. The filter response function for the ideal low-pass filter is given by the expression h omega equal to the rectangular function omega upon W with theta h omega equal to minus omega Tt, so that h omega is equal to rectangular omega upon 2W e to the minus j omega Tt. The unit impulse response ht of this filter is found to be ht equal to W upon pi sinc W t minus Td, applying the inverse Fourier transform to the filter response function and applying the frequency shifting property to the same. Now ht is the system response to an impulse delta t which is applied at t equal to 0. The figure shows something unusual. The response begins even before the input has been applied. Hence, this filter is non-causal and physically unrealizable. So, for a filter to be physically realizable, ht must be causal. That is, ht must be equal to 0 for all times t less than 0. In the frequency domain, this condition is equivalent to the well-known Paley-Wiener criterion, which we specify in the next slide. The Paley-Wiener criterion, specified as the necessary and sufficient condition for the amplitude response h omega to be realizable, is given by the integral minus to plus infinity of the modulus of ln, the modulus of h omega upon 1 plus omega squared d omega being less than infinity. If h omega does not satisfy this condition, then it is unrealizable. If the response h omega is 0 over any finite band, then ln h omega is infinite over that band, and the condition is specified by the Paley-Wiener criterion is violated. We now discuss the practical difficulties in signal reconstruction. If a signal is sampled at the Nyquist rate fs is equal to 2b Hz, the spectrum g bar omega consists of repetitions of g omega without any gap between the successive cycles as shown in the figure. We have already shown that such a filter is unrealizable. Such a filter can only be closely approximated with infinite time delay in the response. This means we can recover the signal GT from its samples only with an infinite time delay. So a practical solution to this problem is to sample the signal at a rate higher than the Nyquist rate, that is fs should be greater than 2b or omega s should be greater than 4 pi b. This shall yield g bar omega consisting of repetitions of g omega with a finite band gap between successive cycles. We can now recover g omega from g bar omega using a low pass filter with a gradual cutoff characteristic as shown dotted in the figure on the right. But even in this case, the filter gain is required to be 0 beyond the first cycle of g omega. By the Paley-Wiener criterion, it is impossible to realize even this filter. The only advantage in this case is that the required filter can be closely approximated with a smaller time delay. This shows that it is impossible to recover a band-limited signal GT exactly from its samples, even if the sampling rate is higher than the Nyquist rate. However, as the sampling rate increases, the recovered signal approaches the desired signal more closely.